Welcome back to the Salty Complainers podcast. This is episode 2 of 3 of my series, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about the Halo franchise and its recent trajectory and how the new games, compared to the old games, have gone. My experience with Halo goes back quite a long ways, all the way back to Halo 2. I did have a little bit of introduction to Halo 1, but Halo 2 was the first Halo game that I really got involved with, and it was the game that sold me on the franchise, and everything about it after that was looking so promising until Halo 4. But I guess you could argue that with Bungie leaving as the head developer of Halo, it was kind of bound to happen that the series was going to go downhill from where Halo 3 left, or Halo Reach, I guess, is considered the last one in the series that they made, but the timeline is different, but we don't have to talk about that, so we're just going to focus on my personal career with Halo and how I think the new ones are compared to the old ones. Even though I was introduced to Halo 1 as the main stage for my introduction to the whole franchise, Halo 2 was the game that I played most with friends and mostly by myself, but it was still enjoyable with friends. I didn't have Xbox Live at the time, but it didn't matter because the game was so enjoyable by itself that it didn't even require Xbox Live to be good. And that, compared to now, like, if a game doesn't have Xbox Live, like, the game isn't gonna, no one's gonna play that game. Single player games nowadays are almost hated by everyone except for a few select franchises, but other than that, everyone wants Xbox Live in their games, and looking to see how good that game without it, it's just amazing how good of a game that is. Halo 2 was the first shooter that I ever picked up, and it's really what got me into the genre of shooter games, but it was also what drew me into the sci-fi fantasy. Although Star Wars kind of did the same thing, both those games together were just, they almost completed my younger end of my childhood. They were just so good together, but Halo 2 compared to Battlefront 2, Halo 2 was it was kind of a lot more jokey. Like, you could just go into custom games and have fun with each other. It was a lot more fun when you had just you and a friend and you could just make up your own games or just goof off and do whatever you want, because that's how the game was. It was just, you could do whatever you wanted and it would still be enjoyable because the game was just that good. Unlike nowadays, where if you try and have fun in a game, you're punished for it, and it just doesn't make any sense why that's the case, because the point of gaming is to have fun, but now having fun is not rewarded, so they're kind of making it so they don't want people to have fun anymore. They just want people to play the game and spend money on their franchises. It's pretty depressing if you think about it, because all these games coming out with their loot box systems and their supply drops and all these pay to win stuff is just ruining the gaming community and painting a terrible picture for the people who just want to have fun while gaming. You know, gaming for me has always been an outlet just to be by myself and kind of relax and just enjoy myself in my own personal space. But with Halo 2, that also allows people close to you to have that same feeling, except you're having fun together. It's not a terrible environment. Kind of like Xbox Live has now got the reputation of being all toxic with a bunch of people who just swear all the time, but if you take Xbox Live away and it's just you and a friend sitting in a room, there's probably nothing better than just a group of people in a room just having fun with each other. And that's my best explanation on how Halo 2 could be described. It's just sitting with a bunch of people you really enjoy and just playing a fantastic game. That is basically what Halo 2 was for me, because nothing about that game I ever disliked. Even though my Xbox was broken and didn't play all the levels of the campaign, that is still probably one of my top 3 favorite games of all time, because even with all those campaign missions locked, it still was so fun, even without that it still made up for it. The only thing that could be improved on from Halo 2 is, I guess, the graphics, because it's pretty old, and maybe a few bug fixes and stuff like that, but like, other than that, like, the game can't get any better. And the sad part about it is they went and remastered the game with the Master Chief Collection, but when they released the Master Chief Collection, the game was broken and it just was filled with a bunch of bugs and just no one could play it. It took them a year to fix the game, but by that time no one wanted to play it anymore. So it was so promising to see Halo 2 get remastered, and then when you go and try and play it, it's just broken. So it's just sad to see how far the Halo franchise has fallen from. Halo 3 was probably the peak, and then after that it's just been a downfall. And don't get me started on Halo 5, because that game is just a hot mess that just no one really wanted, no one really played, and it's just kind of disappeared, and I don't even think anybody's talking about a sequel after the letdown that game was. And with that comes the conclusion of Salty Complainers Episode 2. Tune in next time for Battlefield 1 talks, and see you next time.